Hello and welcome. Thank you so much again for joining me. Session 4, or I suppose day 15 to day 19 of the 21-day compassion gathering. So wonderful that you can join us. Apologies if you see me sort of turn. I'm trying to look at sort of the screen and whatnot. So anyway, I'm getting my hang of it with this whole live thing. It's getting a little bit better from where I tend to put my focus. Anyway, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us again. Wonderful to have you on, and wonderful that there's some people there still interested. Hello, Nick, mate. Thank you again for joining us in. Who's all in? Who's with us today? So I'm assuming that you can hear me okay. Yeah, just a like or a thumbs up would be amazing, so we can crack on. Hello, mate. Yeah, thank you. Wonderful to see you doing that 90-day challenge, mate. Fair play. You're doing fantastic. You really are. Keep going. Now, today, compassion for those that have tested us. You know, it's such a... Hiya, Sarah. How are you? Good morning. Compassion for those that have tested us. You know, I suppose the first 14 days, the first 15 days have really been gathering a bit of momentum. I hope you've been enjoying the practices, and maybe if this last 4 or 5 days you were sort of focusing on a few of those people in your life, the unknown people, and how we can... Hiya, Carrie. Hiya, Chrissy. Awesome. Wonderful that you can hear me good. But thank you again for joining us, and wonderful to have you back. It really is wonderful. I mean that. It's great to be able to just keep talking to people about this wonderful practice in compassion. So, as I was saying, compassion for those that have tested us. Incredible. One of my most favorite areas, and definitely an area of which I've found most growth from with regards to my own personal practice. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I will try my best not to digress, but you know what it's like. Unfortunately, sometimes you just start talking and get the energy flowing, and you can't help but keep going, and then you realize you've gone completely off topic. But I'll continue to try and rein myself in. I hope you enjoy it anyway. It'll be about an hour again today, I'm going to assume. But we're going to start, as we did the other weeks, with a practice in compassion. Now, you may hear my dog wandering around. You may hear the clip-clop of his little finger, the toenails as he clips around. It's just me and him here today, and he tends to be a little bit more clingy when it's just me and him. Anyway, so... practice in compassion. This one's just going to be 10 minutes, and it's going to be a simple breathing practice, really, because ultimately this idea of practicing compassion is this opportunity just to bring our attention in and focus 10 minutes on what is with me right now and beginning to soothe it, you know. And that soothing process, that sort of bringing in, understanding, being with, resting into, leaning up against, this sense of being begins to calm us down, soothes the mind, begins to make us feel a little bit more connected to this world that is around us, and ultimately within us as well. So, get yourself comfortable. 10 minutes, probably all it's going to be. There's not going to be much guidance. I'm going to let you do all of your own inner practice. You know, looking at it, all the names that I can see on there, you've all been to some of my courses or workshops or talks, so I don't need to give you the full guided tour of breathing practice. Okay, so wherever you are, let's take a moment, bring our attention in. If we're sitting up, you know, dragging that focus into the body. Just getting a sense of what's happening for us right now. And let's start with 3 deep breaths. And importantly, with these 3 deep breaths, what I want you to do, I want you to just bring as much attention to that movement as possible. Even the listening of the breath, the whole process as you're breathing in 3 times, real focus, real attention. And after the 3rd one, just resting openly. And by that I mean just not really trying to focus on anything in particular, just taking the next 30 seconds of complete nothingness, openness, awareness, not any particular focus. And from that space, just guiding some of that gentle attention onto the movement of our breath. That's all we're going to do. We just rest completely. No focus, nothing else to do. And just watch how this breath moves. There's no requirement for control. It is that simple sense of being, the life that's there, that happens, continually changing in each moment. And we get to bear witness to it instantaneously as we rest and watch this dance, this movement of life, this life source that we call our breath. It has so many wonderful things. It's all the breathing practices, stimulates our parasympathetic system. It stimulates our immunity. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which is the parasympathetic system, I get. But so much wonderfulness comes from just bringing our attention to our breath. But also it soothes the mind. That's why they call shamatha calm abiding, because it's that guiding of attention onto our breath that just helps us to soften our grasp on this requirement to think. And anytime we get caught up in the movement of the mind, we just gently guide and return, watch and rest. Enjoy. It's wonderful there. You can just hear a car going past from 18,000 miles away. Just resting 18,000 miles in distance and still hearing in this moment a car passing in Australia. As we begin to recognize, as we breathe, the whole universe breathes with us. That everything is found right here and all breathes together. All we do is we just rest and watch and notice. And stillness is there. And just breathing, watching that breath. Nothing more to do, nothing less, nothing to add or take away. Just you remaining attentive. No effort, no requirement. Aware. So, welcome again. I hope you enjoyed that. It's just nice to take a pause and breathe. The practice of compassion starts there, just starts there. Don't need to do much, just giving yourself that time. Thank you, mate. So, compassion for those that have tested us. Interesting practice today. One of my personal favorites. And throughout this, if you want to ask any questions, just throw it up on the chat, on the live chat. Even my dog was chilled. Awesome. I think that's why the dogs love it. They absolutely love it. Like when my dog is meditating, he knows he's straight there. He's right there. He's like, yes, we will do this together. They absolutely adore it. They just feel your energy change. And it is an energetic shift. It's a true shift in energy, and brain waves change. Brain waves change from this to this much calmer state. And often what they find, they've actually found in compassion practices that our mind actually goes further into this gamma state, which is just incredible. It's anyway, meditation. I could go on and on and on about it. But today, obviously, is all about this compassion for those that have tested us. So, hi, Carrie. Reflecting back on your week, how have you been? How much of your time have you been able to invest into this beautiful practice? This much needed practice throughout the world. Right now, you're probably doing something wonderful. Anyway, so how was your parrot this week? Did you manage to bring the metaphor to life again, or even recognize about watering the seeds, bring some attention into the unknown? How has the self-criticism been? Have you been able to sort of fuel the fire of self-compassion rather than self-criticism? And I would say, even if any of you have missed any of the other sessions, I'd recommend just going back and listening to some of the key discussion points at least, and going over them again. The parrot and the owl is something that my supervisor told me once, and ever since it just stuck. It just makes sense. It's such an awesome metaphor for these two sides of us, or it feels like two sides of us. And it's interesting how metaphorical our life is. I don't know if metaphorical is a word. Maybe I've made it up. Apologies if I have. But by that I mean, everything is a metaphor. It's just a story. How we see life is a story that we have basically told ourselves, capturing that moment with our vision, our creativity, and our emotion is what's shaped that metaphor. If you were to be told some wonderful news, maybe you just got a job, maybe your partner did something special, maybe it was your child, your friend, whoever. But that afternoon, or that even into the next day, we feel a little more indestructible, a little more alive. And how we see the world is different. Especially if we've been told bad news. Our metaphor of our life story changes significantly. How we see what others do for us, how we see changes our environment, and it's significantly affected by our state of mind. The metaphor for which we see our life, and why compassion. I heard some wonderful teachers always talk about beginning to remove the sawdust from our eyes. And our brain just stores these metaphors, not of the true reality of what's happening in that moment, but our true reality for what's happening in that moment. So it stores it not really as it is, but as how we think it is, given our emotional state. Now, I know this is a whopping generalization, and by that I mean I guess I'm trying to encompass our whole existence in one sweeping remark, which I know it's not always the truth, but the reality is how we are thinking and feeling matters to how we see the world that is around us. The world that around us is affected by the world that's in us, and the world that's in us affects the world that is around us. And actually, this leads us perfectly onto today's topic, compassion for those that have tested us. And I suppose they will continue to test us for the rest of our lives in reality. We can get so lost into the chatter of our parrot. It just gets louder and louder when people have genuinely tested our mindfulness. And my children are absolute testaments, beautiful testaments to that. Practicing Buddhism as a father is incredibly tough. And actually, I'm going to digress, bringing it back. Apologies. It is though. But anyway, totally different story. But these wonderful beings that have been put onto this path to really to test our resolve, to test our practice, to push us into change, to frustrate us and get us emotional, get us feeling these more disruptive parts of us that often can lead to significant changes in ourselves. It's an interesting statement that I hear often, that such and such got me angry, or such and such has ruined my life. And I suppose, now what would it feel like if you were driving your car and someone just took control of your steering wheel and took control of your car, even though you're driving, they've just decided to take hold of the wheel and just started steering it all over the place and going crazy in your car and smashing into things and just going completely all over the place. What would you do? You'd take back the bloody steering wheel, wouldn't you? And you'd pull over and you go on, out you get. I don't need you taking control of this steering wheel. And ultimately, again, sorry to use the metaphor statement, but this is a bit of a metaphor for our life. You wouldn't let someone control your car and drive it around like a crazy person with you being in it. So why do we blame others so much when we get emotional? Like as if they're the ones that have taken the control of our body and our mind and have just let them take control freely. And I speak with people that even many, many years later, they're still letting these people who most are no longer in their lives they're still driving these emotions in their body. They're still driving these emotions in their hearts and their minds. Now, this is no real fault of our own. I guess it was a bit of a design flaw, and I tell you, when I meet the designer, I'm going to be asking them a few questions about it. But our reality is that we never really got taught that this is our body, this is our mind, and we just shouldn't allow any trespassing, like ever. Now, how our emotions are is for us to decide, not someone else. Now, there can be millions of ways people can upset us, and there are loads of assholes in this world determined to upset us. Although we just straight up forget that we have choice. Especially when we realize how quick to take back the wheel we are when we're driving a car, we should be as fast with our own minds, with our own emotions, our well-being. Sorry, I've just seen that something pop up. Much you can do in the way of compassion for others who affect you. Yeah, absolutely, mate. It gets to a point where what they think about you is none of your business and you need to focus a way back onto you. Yeah, 100%. We can't change We can't change predominantly how they think about you. All the way, the only thing we can change is how we are thinking and feeling about them and how they are reacting to us. And it's tough. I'm not saying that this is easy. I'm not saying that being able to not have someone feel like they're controlling our emotions is an incredibly tough thing to do. It takes practice, lots of practice. But ultimately, this is one of these things that are so beneficial to our heart and soul and our deeper connection with life. And I say deeper flippantly. You'll probably find out why. But, there is ultimately, there's that wonderful quote by Gandhi, actually. Don't let anyone walk through your mind with dirty feet or something similar. Apologies, Gandhi, if I didn't quite get that wrong. We get caught up in other people's lives. We can forget that in reality, our lives are about me, no matter how other people are, which is obviously their choice. But I get to choose whether or not you're going to disrupt me. This is our choice, my choice, my right to choose. Free will and all that. So if you want someone to annoy you, I promise you they will, 100%. It's the same with sound. I remember hearing Adyashanti say that, and it just blew my mind. But we shouldn't give people the freedom to control our emotions. All of these privileges has to be for ourselves. Yeah, we shouldn't let others control how we feel. And if others make us angry, I don't know why I did that, but anyway, make us angry or sad or down or even happy, we need to just step back and have a little tender word with ourselves and ask, is this suffering self-inflicted? And by self-inflicted, I mean, am I just suffering because someone else has had too much airplay in my mind? Have they walked through my mind with dirty feet? And if so, I need some space. I need some of that mindfulness stuff, that compassion stuff. Yeah. And meditation is such a wonderful thing. Beyond any practice, there's any idea of practice. This open space of arriving in the immediacy of this moment. And I guess by recognizing that we are only of this moment, this infinite string of moments. And it is in that deepness, in the deepness of the shallowness of the moment, that we realize that meditation is all about that in that stillness. And I suppose it's not that we're seeking stillness. We're not trying to find stillness. We're not looking inwards, trying to find like the still point, looking, is it stillness there? No, it's not there. Is it under that? No, it's not on that side. Is it in the body? Maybe it's in the heart. No, maybe it's in the lower belly. Maybe it's in the mind. Stillness is found in shallow listening. Look at life without depth. Come away from that attitude that you're trying to find something, that there are so many things that we can find in meditation if we want to. And then we get stuck on those solutions, which ends up really just being another hurdle. That when we meditate, we're just trying to see the truth, that life is as shallow as this breath. And I don't mean it from the definition that you might think shallow being. That in fact life is shallower than the breath. Although within that shallowness, the whole universe arises. That how can life be anything longer than one breath? It's shorter than that. And to get there, we just breathe and pause and listen openly into that shallowness. And we recognize, my view on myself and the whole world is nothing more than just another idea, another metaphor. That there isn't a real difference to be found. And meditation is the way to begin to recognize this interdependence, this inseparability in silence, internally, beginning to soften that parrot, to soften the chirping. And we find within the grey matter between our ears is peace. And if we're always thinking about our reality, how can we ever really be living and experiencing when our life is based on our descriptions of it, or our view on how our mind describes our life? Although our reality is much different. It's difficult to understand sometimes when we live in a world where people are so different. In this world we have all these people, different from you kind of people, that see things differently, that feel things differently, that look differently, that hear things differently, that enjoy things differently, that understand things differently. They're different from you, completely unique, just like you though. And as we looked at our last session, completely interdependent, just like you. Their upbringing, their class, their culture, their family, their friends, their group of whoever was around them, what they've seen and learned, their life to this point, completely unique, will never be another. And yet we let these people, who are not us, obviously, play such a major role in how we live. The happy, lovely people are easy. And often our problem is that we begin to compare these wonderful, lovely people to these bad energies, the life drainers, with these lovely people. The people that we see similarities in, our families, our friends. Maybe sometimes we don't, but you know what I mean. It is these others that come into our lives and really test our resolve. Maybe they are friends or partners or colleagues or whoever, but they give us a real flavor of our path and challenge the core of our structure. And the thing is, there are these people everywhere. People that are different from you, I mean. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Come a little closer. They probably go home and tell their friends and family and complain about you in the same way. We have these people that test us everywhere. This is our life, and it isn't perfect, unfortunately. And just like me, we haven't achieved some sort of Buddhahood just yet, where we see Mara rise up and test us with all this eagerness, and we just invite Mara to come and sit down for a cup of tea with us. We get pissed off, like really pissed off, and really quick. We end up throwing the tea kettle at him or something, at her. So these wonderful people who test us, who invoke these powerful, disruptive emotions in us, motivate us to do something that biologically are driving us to punch, run, or hide, when in reality, this is not where our strength lies. But this is the animal in us, our animalistic nature, a natural biological part of us. And we were born much stronger than that. this very ancient system we've evolved beyond. And yes, dangerous things can absolutely ignite this system, and this system gets us safe from harm. But another human pushing your buttons, and I'm speaking from a place of non-perfection too. I still erupt every now and again. Let's be honest. I am an emotional creature. I've just got to tend to have a better handle on it these days. These emotions are survival mechanisms. That's all they are. They're just survival mechanisms. Now, this world is filled with all kinds of people. And if we let them continue to take the control of our emotions, and I know some of you are probably thinking, but some people are just... Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you. There are. Since the dawn of time, there were people different from us. Of all the scriptures I've read, and all the different religions, not ever has there been a time in this whole existence that I've read some scriptures that said, and the whole world was happy and united and together as one. I mean, even Adam and Eve got kicked out just for having an apple. No, never has this happened. We've been basically been put together by two adults that had no handbook. They just did their best, basically winging it, just like we're doing with our kids, if you have them. Now, our whole life on what we think, they judge their whole life on what they think will be best for us. All of us are the same in this way. Some will have had a better upbringing than others. But like the Buddha said once, I remember this wonderful teaching. This woman came and approached the Buddha and asked him for a bit of advice. And she lost a loved one and approached him and asked him to help her get rid of the suffering of this loss. And he said, of course, but before, can I just ask you one small favor? Could you go to every house in this village and get a mustard seed or something? Apologies, Buddha, something like that. Get us a seed or something. Anyway, get this new mustard seed. Get a mustard seed from every home in the village and bring it to me so I can finish making this mustard sauce. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this bit up. But anyway, that's what he said. Go and get a seed from all the people in the villages and come back to me. But only take the seed from the homes that had not suffered a loss of their loved ones. And she came back empty-handed. We are all fighting an uphill battle to find the best people we can be. And we feel like we're losing all the time as others are seemingly holding us back by being more in control of our emotions than we are. But let me ask you this. Of these people, these ones that have tested us in our life, these people that are now, maybe they're in your past, maybe they're your kids or your family, whatever. Now, of these people that have tested us, how often have we grown from it? Or how often have we grown out of it? How often have we learned something about ourselves? Now, it is a fact that we have the most evolved neurological system on this planet. Well, maybe the dolphins, they have sonar, which would be pretty cool, let's be honest. Where's my kids? That would be pretty awesome. Anyway, I think it may be misused. I don't know. Anyway, but we have an incredibly advanced neurological system. And this mind of ours, this incredible gift that often feels like a weight of burden, because there seems to be this flaw that we have these emotions and thoughts which we have no control of, created by others. And then how we see the world around us reflects how we think and feel about our own world, how we perceive it, and the drama that we create around it. Now, each one of us is caught up so often in our own minds, our own drama, paying attention to the very little I. Sorry, I just seen something pop. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Yeah, 100% of the time, personally. Yeah, it's we spend so much time invested in that. We do. Absolutely. So often some of these thoughts we have are completely untrue. And we believe the lies. We get emotional about it, like as if it's actually really happened. It's like sometimes when I wake up in the morning and my wife gives me a big hug and says, "You're still here." And I ask, "Why? Where else would I be?" And she says, "In my dreams, you left me. Right now, just a few moments ago, but no, here you are." Now, these thoughts we have in our lives are the only reason we have drama. If we didn't compare ourselves, if we didn't perceive things differently, we wouldn't have drama. So maybe our mind would then, maybe I suppose if we were focused on the drama, maybe our mind will start focusing on getting rid of our fingers for feeling too much, or our lungs for maybe breathing in too much air. I don't know. Anyway, so many people come to the classes with this expectation that they will be rid of thoughts and emotions. I'm assuming that they've heard this somewhere, as I get it quite often, that people have this expectation that if I come and learn meditation, that I'll be rid of thoughts, that thoughts will be gone, this bane of my life. When I speak with them and ask, maybe later, why don't you come and do some meditation or try some mindfulness? I often get people saying that, oh, my mind is too busy for that, that I tried it once and I couldn't stop my thoughts. And the jokey side of me then asks, would love to ask, if I had a rope, could you lasso a cloud for me and bring it in? That would be wonderful too. But yeah, I realise I'm digressing again. Apologies. But yes, compassion again for the people that have tested us. And I guess where I've been going with this is that very similar to that idea of the Will Smith video. Have you seen his one on fault and responsibility? No, absolutely. It was their fault that these things have happened in your life. Absolutely. You had no control of it. You didn't expect it. It wasn't your fault. But it is your responsibility to put it right. And believing that these people are in control of your emotions is a fable. It's a lie that you have turned into a belief. And we don't help ourselves. We say things like, "Ooh, Craig really pissed me off today." And our mind logs it. Our mind just stores that metaphor. Craig equals asshole. Or whoever equals, or whoever. Sorry, there's no Craigs on today. Anyway, you know what I mean. And everything that they do now sucks. And Craig always now pisses me off. Everything that Craig does winds me up, grinds on me. When in reality, we use the emotion to motivate us to not speak with Craig or show Craig how we actually feel about their actions. That we choose the emotion that maybe it doesn't always feel like choice, actually, but because we've ingrained a habit within us saying, if someone does this, then this, and we just repeat that habit over and over again. And this is where mindfulness plays its role, is beginning to take stock, check in, recognize that actually I don't want to continue to repeat that habit over and over again. And then Craig begins to know that button, begins to push it like my kids do. I love them more than life itself, but they are wonderful pointers on my own path, wonderful opportunities for practice. Which is why mindfulness and meditation is so important, to try and work directly with these changing, disruptive states. Now, we practice it not so much to get better at meditating, it's really to get better at humaning. And the meditation is working if you're recognizing more thoughts or recognizing more emotions. We don't realize that. We think that it's not working if we're recognizing we've got a busy mind or we're getting emotional. We feel like as if our practice is failing. It's not like all of a sudden within you there is just this evil genius that goes, right, Carrie started meditation. Let's really test them at the start and go from our normal 30 to 50,000 thoughts a day to 2 million thoughts, just to get them out of meditation, get her out of meditation quick. No, the thoughts don't change. That's the average is 30 to 50,000. You're just no longer being the passenger on the Carrie ride or the Dan ride or the Chrissy or the Nick or the Sarah ride. Existing. They don't just go, right, Carrie's meditating. Let's make this sadness twice as unbearable just to show them who's boss, this evil internal genius that knows how to get you off that cushion. These busy mind, these disruptive states is why we practice. It's why we come onto the cushion. And those that have tested us form the path. A very uphill path at times with blackberry bushes and wind and rain and hail. But we do have a choice. And why this practice is so important is to begin to work with all of these feelings that we have, all of these thoughts, all these feelings which make up you and me, us. They don't define you. They are not you. They come and go. They're transient. Like roomies meet them at the door with a smile as they may be clearing you out for the next adventure. So, wow, apologies, I've sort of blurbed a bit there. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Any questions? And we'll finish with a little meditation at the end, if that's still okay. Or if you have no thoughts, that's awesome too. But what have you taken so far? I hope you've taken something positive from what I've said. I've realized it's been a solid 30, 35 minutes of talking there. Anyway, so yeah. What are your thoughts? What have you thought about it? Whilst if there are thoughts or questions coming up, I want to leave you with a couple of quotes. So I read these quotes just in the last 2 days and just thought they're incredibly relevant for what we're going to be talking about today. Apologies. So one of them was the sorrow and loss he felt fostered a raw and open-hearted compassion towards others, was one quote. The sorrow and loss he felt fostered a raw and open-hearted compassion toward others. And the other quote was, it doesn't matter how long we've been traveling in the wrong direction, we always have a choice to turn around. All right, so let's finish with a meditation. I haven't seen anything come up on the screen, so that's cool. Give us a like or a thumbs up if you still fancy a little 10-minute practice at the end, just a little bit of practice about compassion for those who tested us, just to make sure there's people still there. Thumbs up or a like, whatever you want to do, or hello. All right, anyway, I've seen one like come up. Yep, cool. A couple of smiley faces. Awesome. Okay, so little practice together just to finish this off. And thank you for sticking around for so long. Apologies. I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't know why I keep saying sorry or apologizing, because I absolutely love it. But I found this so true and defo up for another practice. Awesome, Sarah. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. Okay, so little meditation to finish. Meditation on, sorry, one more. It's true that we let others control their feelings, which can be horrible at times. Yeah, 100%. You know, it can be terrible. And do you know what? I know we spoke about last week, the two arrows. You know, the first arrow is the person, what they've done. And then the second arrow is all the suffering that we cause ourselves because of the first arrow. Well, thank you, Carrie. Yeah, I do need to. But anyway, if you think about it, you know, if we can begin to recognize that all we're doing is just shooting another arrow into our leg. You know, when someone is just, oh, and then we walk away going, oh, God, what an asshole. That person's doing this and doing that. All we're doing is causing ourselves suffering. They could be enjoying their lunch, not thinking about you, having a beer, glass of wine, some sandwiches, going for a walk, whatever it is, probably not thinking about you. And there we are, just continual arrows, just making that wound more painful for ourselves. Awesome. Thank you. It is. This week is where I've been building to. It's my personal favorite as well, which is probably why I went completely off on one today. So I'm not going to say sorry. But yeah, anyway. Thank you. And great, some wonderful point there, Christy. We have and others. It's wonderful that I hope, if anything, if I could ask just one thing, and I know the workbooks, I haven't even got to that today. Apologies. Just apologizing. If there's one thing that happens out of today is just you're bringing some of that self-compassion in when you're seeing the second arrow and the third and the fourth arrow going in. You know, the suffering of suffering. And you begin to start not challenging it, but leaning into it, nurturing it, bringing a tender voice. You know, like I said, this idea of, is this self-inflicted suffering that's going on here? And if it is, it's got to stop. It has to. And you can't just go, right, that's it, stop. But with this practice, we get better and better and better and better and better and better and better at it, so that we react and we feel the reaction, but we don't get dissolved into it, immersed into it. We don't dive head first into it and just get dragged away as long as this emotion is with us. We we cannot help but react to that, but the rest we need to feel within our own hearts. Yeah, so that, yeah, we the reaction isn't a problem. We, like, I've absolutely, we are emotional creatures. We are born with these big, tender, open hearts. Most of us, especially people that are still day 15 into this compassion thing. You people are probably some of the most caring, wonderful people out there that are really wanting to explore further what it is about them. How do I bring this compassion thing to life? And we bring it into ourselves and we feel it in our hearts. And this is where we start, this recognition of just bringing this world inwards and feeling it, being with it and nurturing it. There's that idea of, the getting so good at self-compassion that everyone benefits. That this selfishness of self-compassion turns into a selfless gift for others. So, little practice. We're going to be going well over the hour. I hope that's okay with you. Let's crack on. Okay, awesome. Let's do this. So get yourselves comfortable. Oh, my legs are a bit sore today. I've been sitting. Practices already shifted them out. So wherever we are, let's bring some attention into the body. Okay. And just bringing some attention to the movement of our breath. And just watching that movement. Watch the flow. Just being aware of the movement. Nothing to change, nothing to add, nothing to take away. Mindfulness of the breath is not about following. It's not about creation. It's not about change. It is about being with what we are feeling right now. Don't need to worry about what has been. Don't need to worry about what is to come. We are here. Let's just watch this breath. Just for the next minute, I'm going to go quiet and just watch the movement, watch the flow. The distractions come and go like clouds passing in the sky, using the breath as that point, anchor, grounding, whatever we'd like to use. That breath can just bring us so close in, so close. We're just being with the breath. Nothing required for anything else. We're just being directly with that breath. And when we're practicing compassion, it's important, it's about turning our heart towards them or towards ourselves. It's not about feeling lack, feeling obligation, feeling like as if we wish we could have done more. Compassion is this grounding of gratitude. It is the seat, the foundation from which gratitude blossoms. A gratitude practice can't be without compassion. You can't just be grateful for the things you have in your life without really looking into it. What is it that I'm grateful for? Bringing it into the heart. And opening that heart towards them. Now, this practice is about receiving the kindness that others have extended to us in our lives, whether we've recognized it or not. It doesn't matter whether you've deserved it or haven't deserved it, but we've felt it. And not always in the ways that we've wanted, which is what we've looked at today. So we just start just by bringing some attention to our family, our loved ones. Now, without the love of our parents, which I appreciate not all of us have had both or even any at times, although at some point there was someone that fed you, kept us warm on cold nights, clothed us, helped us to get to school. Now, the fact that you're alive now means there must have been someone or some people who loved you enough to get you here. All the sleepless nights staying up with you when you're sick or scared, all the worries and keeping us safe. And if you're a parent right now, maybe you can recognize how hard it is or how hard it was being a parent. And what you needed to do out of love for these little beings. Our caregivers, our parents taught us how to speak, how to communicate. They got us to school and back, got us to sport. Maybe even spent time teaching you how to do stuff at home, giving up all of their time to bring you to a better understanding of life, even if it was through their eyes. Everything we've learned has come from the dedication of others. Nothing that we know has been made up by ourselves. It's come through the expense of so many other people. And it's just wonderful to recognize that. Open that heart towards these people. Oh, I love just thinking about these wonderful people in my lives and just saying thank you. And just recognizing this, bringing that attention into the heart, these loved ones that have played such an important role in your life. And often throughout our lives, there were these people that didn't help us either. Maybe they seemed to make our life harder, make it more emotional. And often throughout our lives, have created change. So if we can, could we appreciate that maybe it wasn't so much that they didn't want to help. It may have been their situation, their upbringing, their circumstance. That maybe they thought that they were doing their best. Even though that best came at a sense of expense for you. And often these people that have tested us have helped us to grow, helped us to see another side of ourselves that often even our loved ones couldn't find, that have pushed us outside of our comfort zone. And can we bring some compassion to those people that have maybe made us feel insecure or jealous? And I appreciate often our immediate response is to how could we turn some of what they did into kindness? But when we, like I said, when we look a little closer at ourselves, we see these people have actually made us stronger. They've challenged us to change and pushed us, even if the process hasn't been positive or seemed difficult. We grew, we learned, and recognized some of the resources that we probably weren't even aware of. Maybe it even forced us into the community to teach us how to overcome these emotions. Maybe if we look back now, maybe it is these people that have pushed us into roles to help others. And if we could even just open this up just a little bit more, could we take it even further and recognize that these people weren't born with the want to hurt? It is through their own suffering, their own ability or inability to manage their suffering, of which again is of no fault of your own. That these people helped us to be patient, to be kind and diligent and strong. They helped us to learn and often helped us to love our children and our friends more deeply. That some of your strengths right now has come at their expense. And so maybe even just cultivating a sense of compassion and even gratitude, if you could, towards these people that have taught us how to be more resourceful, to be more skillful and kind. And if we can, I just want you to see if you can just rest into that compassion in your heart for all people, from loved ones to the unknown, to those that have tested us, for ourselves. Just rest into that heart. And feel into that compassion without distraction. Okay. So, thank you so much for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, help us out sharing this to people that may need this sort of practice. I'd love to hear you see your comments on the page. Also, I was going to say I've been putting together a series of meditations called "Creating Something Truly Beautiful." And it's all about manifesting our truth. So keep a lookout for them. I'm going to be throwing them out there real soon. If you want to send me your email, if you want to contact me or put something in the comments, very welcome to. If you'd like me to send these on to you once they do go live, but I will be getting them out soon. But thank you again so much for your time. Much appreciated. Enjoy these next few days, 15 to 18, the collaboration, reflecting on that, making sure you're keeping up with those compassion practices as well. The idea of the collaboration from those that have tested us. It's a wonderful thing to reflect upon. It really is. But thank you so very much. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you again in a few days' time for our final session together of this compassion practice. Have an amazing rest of your day, and thank you.